Hello and welcome to the Clean and Ethical Beauty series. In this 6-part video series, we'll be taking a closer look at this important and growing category with insight from experts to bring you everything you need to know about the business of clean and ethical beauty. In this episode, we get to go behind the curtain and learn how clean and ethical brands operate in the market. We will get insights into clean and ethical ways of working and hear about the opportunities and challenges that these brands have experienced in the market. So I'm very thrilled today to be joined by two beauty revolutionaries that have pushed the boundaries to achieve their vision of what they think is a clean and ethical business should look like. So first up, we have Jo Chidley, the founder of Beauty Kitchen, a UK-based brand that is on the mission to create the most effective, natural, and sustainable beauty products in the world. And we also have Joanna Monange, the founder of Maison 21G, a Singapore-based haute perfumery that is putting the creation of fragrance back into the hands of consumer with its revolutionary La Sauce technology. Ladies, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so first, we are going to hear from Jo, who is going to share with us how Beauty Kitchen deals with packaging waste, because we can't be clean and ethical without tackling the issue of plastic pollution. So instead of recycling, we are going to hear how Beauty Kitchen's solution is to pre-cycle its way into a circular economy. Over to you, Jo.
Thank you, Amanda, for inviting me and welcome everyone. So a little bit about Beauty Kitchen. We have developed all of our products to have clean ingredients, clean packaging and a clean business, which is another way of saying sustainable. We started in 2014 with a mission to be the world's leading sustainable beauty company, and we are very much on that journey. With recent news and changes in people perception due to the awareness raised about plastic pollution through the Blue Planet programme and the current COVID-19 crisis, now is the time to engage with customers. Discarding containers is a relatively new concept, and we have redesigned and reformulated all of our products into packaging that can be returned, washed and reused, using digital technology to track and return the packaging through a national network of reverse logistics. And this is really what I want to talk about over the next few slides. Our planet is drowning in an ocean of plastic, and we have to take direct action to make that change. Did you know that only 9% of plastic is recycled? And this comes from research from the Ellen MacArthur Foundation. And really, this is just not good enough. Sustainable ingredients, sustainable packaging and sustainable business. This is why Beauty Kitchen use cradle-to-cradle principles and certification, which is then underpinned by B Corp standards. Now, in this slide, I want to talk to you a little bit more about cradle to cradle. But first, I'd like to take a minute to talk about the current crisis we face. The R number, which stands for reproduction, is headline news right now as we fight the pandemic disease that is coronavirus. As the first high street beauty business to become a B Corporation, we have a continuous commitment to use business as a force for good, protecting the environment and the community. We believe that the collective world's rapid response to reducing coronavirus R number sets a new benchmark on what we can and should be done when lives are at stake. The target for the coronavirus R number is 0, and we together will achieve that soon enough with a vaccine. However, there are two other global pandemics that we cannot treat with a vaccine, racism and the climate emergency. They pose an even greater threat to life. They are both systemic issues that need rapid action on a massive scale. And for us at Beauty Kitchen, the first key aspect of this is cradle to cradle. It is to move away from getting people to feel guilty. We have faced a long period of all kinds of environmental disasters, which have created a feeling that really humans would be better not being here. And I don't believe that. This is why people talk about minimizing footprints. We have to take a more positive approach. We have to be transparent and work together to make the change we see. And this is where it's around vertical and horizontal integration. And packaging and supply chain is very much a part of that. So, sustainability is a complex problem. And this is where supporting the planet through cradle to cradle, the ultimate in circular economy terms, this will make it easier for businesses and consumers to understand this complex problem. And when you look at this slide, everyone understands recycling, but recycling is really just being less bad. What we want to do is create consumer products that are more good. They actually are carbon positive. Beauty Kitchen's product packaging has a positive impact on the environment rather than negative. We're obsessive about reducing the amount of packaging. We use pre-cycled, reusable jars and tins. And of course, any other parts of our packaging is easy to recycle. And we will actually do that for you with our return, refill, repeat program. So customers can buy our products in reusable packaging that they can return to us through an easy national, European, and soon to be global network. There is no doubt that sustainability has brought us a great deal of valuable expertise, such as knowledge about supply chain management and logistics. And that's what Beauty Kitchen has used to turn its packaging into a return, refillable, and repeating option for consumers. So, cradle to cradle principles, what is it? Well, this is what really inspired me to design products that keep within the circular economy. Cradle to cradle is very much looking at UN sustainability goals. It's ensuring that you have safe ingredients, you eliminate the concept of waste, you're powered by abundant, renewable and clean energy, you look after the water and see it as a precious resource, but you also ensure that you regenerate the human systems through social fairness. We have an opportunity to use the 30 years of environmental debate for innovation. To put plastic into the ocean is just stupid, just like making chemicals that damage biological systems. People become more creative when they feel appreciated and live without fear. It's far more powerful to be proud of what you do. And that's what we try to do at Beauty Kitchen. We are looking to use cradle to cradle principles to ensure that our consumers buy our products in reusable packaging that makes it easy for them to return and for us to wash and reuse. So let's get into what that looks like. This is one of our moisturizing tins. We have a 100% recycled lid that can be recycled again. We have no glue in the lid, so it means that it's very easy to be recycled. The glass jar is widely reused and our labels are made of rock paper. We have one of our other products here, which is in compostable packaging. It's a compostable sponge with a compostable string. So what happens is once the nutrients have been used, they go back into the soil to become new nutrients. Next, we have a cleanser with a pump that's metal-free, an aluminium bottle, which is widely reused or can be recycled. And we have things like our glitter balm, which again is in a recyclable aluminium lid, a glass jar, which is widely reused, and the ingredients inside have zero plastic inside. This is just some examples of what we do at Beauty Kitchen to bring our return, refill, repeat program to life. We want to support sustainability as a whole. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for that, Jo. We'll definitely get into what we discussed later in the episode. But now we're going to hear from Joanna. So she is going to be talking, she's going to move the conversation to ingredients. Specifically, she'll be tackling the idea of clean fragrance, and she will spotlight the importance of being transparent in perfumery and talk about how there's a difference between natural and synthetic ingredients. Over to you, Joanna.
Thank you, Amanda, for inviting me on this hot topic about clean beauty. I think the topic has been very big in the skincare industry, but we're just starting to talk about it in perfumery, and it's very important indeed. So Maison 21G is a personalized approach of perfumery where we entitle people to create their own scent with natural base in a safe environment for you to express your personality, to have something unique, but also to feel more confident and seductive in your life. So what is a clean fragrance for me? Because there is no clear definition on that. So I think a clean fragrance is a fragrance that is good for you, for your skin, for your health, but also for the planet, who doesn't bring pollution and keep the water, the soil healthy. So this is how I define a clean fragrance. We need, I think, an honest labeling for consumer in perfumery. Today, when you buy your product, you can read perfume, water, and this is it. And you have a list of allergens where you don't understand anything. I think it's the right for the consumer to know what is inside their product. For instance, what are the natural ingredients, the percentage of natural ingredient, the level of biodegradability of your perfume, the level of recyclable carbon. If you have any phthalate or cyanide or hormone disruptor in the chemical used in your perfume, I think it's the right for the consumer to know all of that. And it's why we have decided at Maison 21G to bring for the first ever time this level of transparency on our website. So now the big debate, synthetic versus natural ingredient. So we have to be careful to wish for 100% natural world, because first, we don't have enough supply to do 100% natural product for everybody in the world. So it's why synthetic is also important. And it's impossible to make a long-lasting perfume with just natural ingredients. We need a lot of important synthetic molecule like the musk, who will enhance your long-lasting. However, if the product become 90% synthetic and you just put a drop of natural just to claim something on your packaging, it's not nice. We should start from nature, craft around it, and this is the right way it should go. So it's why consumers have the right to know the natural ingredient contained in their formula and the level of natural, the percentage. So there is not a black and white debate, and it's all about transparency. Now talking about natural ingredient, I think it's all also, we must have a clean sourcing of all natural ingredient. At Maison 21G, we work exclusively with the famous laboratoire Monique Remy. We know how they source their product. We know they take care of the population, you know, who do the distillation for us. All the natural ingredients are made in poor countries like Madagascar, Haiti, Indonesia, where we need a lot of hands, you know, to collect the natural ingredient. So we need to be careful how we treat these people. We need to make sure that we don't make children working, for instance, and they have good health of condition. Then we need also to be careful that these people don't use too much pesticide, fertilizer. So it's a whole environment that needs to be watched out. And if we need to pay more expensive, we need to be ready to do it. Natural ingredient is really the next luxury, and we need to invest into it. It's our duty in perfumery. Moreover, we know that natural ingredients have a lot of benefit for our skin, you know, for our brain. They are able, you know, from the aromatherapy, they are able to calm us, to energize us. And just when you take a rose natural extract, it's a natural antioxidant. So it's an anti-wrinkle for your skin. So they have beautiful benefit that we should start to talk about it into our perfume. Now, next question, does clean synthetic ingredient really exist? I think a synthetic will be always a synthetic, and it's not perfect, but there's a way to develop synthetic ingredient, and it's what IFF does. You know, we try to use a product that can be recyclable or waste, you know, like there is a program where you can use the tire, the plastic of the tire, and do molecule with it. So instead of constantly using oil, you know, for doing the synthetic, you can use existing product like plastic recyclable and make it a new synthetic. And of course, we need to do all the tests to make sure that they don't disrupt your immune system. So we need really to respect the process, and synthetic can be used. Then what about a clean packaging? Joe just addressed that very clearly. I'm amazed to see the level of packaging that the luxury perfume brand buy. You have this huge box, you open it, and you just directly put it in the trash. So, and you have this beautiful bottle that have huge design on it, very thick glass, and when perfume is finished, we put it straight into the trash bin. So is there a way to change that? So at Maison 21G, we do believe, like Joe, that we should work on sustainable packaging. When you have no choice and you need a box, you need to take out all the plastic and work with recyclable carton box. Or we are working with a little cotton pouch that you can reuse for something else. We have a beautiful leatherette also that you can put other things. You can put your makeup, your sunglasses, your glasses. So I want to do like really objects that you don't put in the trash bin when you have used your perfume. And at Maison 21G, you are able, when you finish your perfume, to open it and to come at Maison, to go to La Source, to refill your perfume, and you just pay for the inside of the bottle and you don't pay for another bottle again. So I think people love it. They come back at the shop, you know, they can try something different. And soon we will have that available online. When you will reorder, just you recharge and you can keep your bottle. You have also customized, because at Maison 21G, you are able to put the design you want. You choose inside and outside of the bottle. So I think it's very easy. It doesn't cost a ton. And sometimes when I hear a luxury brand, we say, oh, we need big packaging. It's a sign of richness, of luxury. I think it's wrong. The next luxury will be green packaging. We can reuse and that really take care of the planet. I think it's important that we all become very conscious about it, and consumers should stop to buy this huge box with something really minimal inside. Same for the toys for kids. This is our responsibility. So just to resume, at Maison 21G, we want a green, clean, and sustainable perfumery. We want to be transparent as much as we can in the formula. Even if there is a trade secret on the formula of the perfumer, it doesn't impede us to give us the level of concentration, the level of ingredient, the synthetic use in the formula without giving the dosage. All bottles are refillable with La Source, and our packaging are all reusable. And we do clean fragrance, where we promise no phthalate, no preservative, no formaldehyde, no CMR, and we are, of course, cruelty-free, and we don't use any animal products, and we are GMO-free and vegan. And our products are minimum 90% biodegradable material. Thank you very much, Amanda, for the opportunity to talk about clean perfumery.
Thank you, ladies, both, for your wonderful insights. You know, it's been very valuable to hear how the both of you run your brands. So let's move into the Q&A portion of the episode. To start the conversation, the first thing I'd like to discuss is definitions. So clean and ethical beauty today has various definitions concocted by brands, retailers, and marketers. And some of these definitions can honestly get quite complicated for consumers, especially. So I would like to know how both of you would like to see it defined for the sake of businesses and consumers. Joe, will you start us off?
Yeah, I mean, I think marketeers will always use any trend that is around to basically confuse consumers. However, I do think consumers have become more educated, particularly in the areas of sustainability and clean beauty. And I think it's about looking at not just one attribute. You look at a company and you ask, what are the multi-attributes? So you may have a clean ingredient, but do you have clean packaging, and do you have a clean business? And for me, if a consumer looks at all parts of that, then irrespective of what the marketing department is saying, then they can feel that they trust that particular brand. And it might be that the beauty brand is actually on a journey. It's about transparency, and it's about saying to people, we're starting with clean ingredients, and we then plan to do packaging and everything else. And that's really, when it came to Beauty Kitchen, you know, when we first started out, there's so much to go at within sustainability and within clean and ethical beauty that it would overwhelm you as a business if you tried to do it all at the same time. So chunking it down and doing it in parts where your expertise follows that through, I think is the easiest way, not just for a business starting out, but also so that you have a story to tell consumers and they can come along with you. The other part to it is certification. Really, you need to look for the certifications, because if someone is saying that they don't test on animals, who is verifying that? You know, and that's really where certification plays a big part.
Fantastic. Yeah, what about you, Joanna? Coming from a perfumery standpoint.
I totally agree with Joe that clean perfume is a very difficult definition, and there is no rule in perfumery about that. For me, it's a 360 approach. I will qualify a clean product looking at what is inside the product, where you need transparency, as I was mentioning, the percentage of natural ingredient, the percentage of synthetic. There is no CMR, it's cruelty-free, there is no hormone modificator, all these kind of important detail to know what is inside your product. Then I would look at the outside of the product. If you have a clean formula, but you have a nasty packaging, there is no point. So how you prove your packaging is recyclable or reusable, this is our responsibility. And the third aspect will be, how do you source? So you make sure that if you buy in China or in poor country, that it's sourced in an ethical way, so like ethical, clean way, as I was mentioning, that we take care of the people and the soil of the country. That's very important. And finally, the plus will be for company to if you make money, of course, of your company, to reinvest part of your sales into a cause, into R&D, to improve, to cultivate, for instance, ingredient in a more sustainable way, to train people. I think part of the sales of the benefit of company should be reinvest into the planet, into the people. That would be for me the cherry on the cake, to really not give a notation on the company on the clean aspect.
Fantastic. Okay, so I wanted to move to the second question of that, and I want to direct it to Joe. So can I ask, what are the major factors that stop beauty brands from adopting this cradle-to-cradle approach? Do they worry about cost or scalability? And if they are in this transitioning period, do they worry about things about like having leftover stock and stuff like that? So how can a brand overcome that?
Yeah, so I think the great thing, and maybe sometimes the misunderstood part of cradle to cradle, is that you have to get the certification to live by those principles. And that's not actually true. The cradle to cradle certification will support you and guide you as you go on that journey. And ultimately, they would like you to have your products certified, because that is, the seal of approval. But in the early stages of your business, they can then help you to understand what are the key areas that you have to make the biggest changes on. Yeah. And how can we actually help you as an organization to do that? All of the things that you mentioned, Amanda, with regards to scalability, with regards to cost, return on investment, and what stock could you potentially be left over with. To be fair, Beauty Kitchen has gone through all of that. So one of the areas that I would say to other businesses thinking about it is, look at some of the other businesses that have got the certification and touch base with them, ask them how they did it. Yeah, because they have already gone through all of those challenges, and they can give you for me particularly, it's about transparency. If you're on the cradle to cradle journey, then the other businesses that have gone through that, even the large ones like Method, L'Oreal have certified some of their products, and smaller businesses like Beauty Kitchen, we will be transparent on how we have done that. So I have had help from Method and L'Oreal, and I would be more than welcome to helping other brands get on that journey.
Fantastic. So if there's anything that you need to know, you can contact Beauty Kitchen.
Yes.
All right. Okay. So Joanna, you mentioned synthetic ingredients, and yeah, they do get a bad rep, like you mentioned. As you rightly pointed out, not all natural ingredients are safe, and sometimes synthetics can be even more sustainable in a sense. So from your experience, do they still have this fear of synthetic, and what else needs to be done to correct it?
I think, yes, there is still a big fear of ingredient, and we hear a lot of scandal. You heard the last one in Korea with home care, where the diffusing perfume that were killing babies. So we still need to be very careful, because you have very nasty chemicals. There is a way to do clean chemical, as I was explaining. And just to give you an example, we've seen the progression of the musk family, where 20 years ago, we were using nitro musk, what we call the yellow musk, and they were going into the water, and we find a lot, they were not biodegradable. Today, we are able to do what we call microcycle musk. So they have a much shorter chains of chemical, and they degrade much faster. So there is a lot of research also to improve the biodegradability of the synthetic ingredient. What is wrong in perfumery? Most of the time, I should say, synthetic ingredients are easier to use, they are cheaper. So there is a temptation to replace, and they can smell very similar on the first sniff to a natural ingredient. However, when you wear them, they are completely different. So there is a temptation, to put a bit of synthetic to dilute natural ingredient. We know there is a lot of tricks, where you can find some dirty perfumery here. So if it's well used, it's fine. If you abuse on synthetic and it becomes your base, that's not fair for the consumer, because you're losing a lot of benefit. Like I was explaining, the beauty of the natural ingredient is like a human being. It's full of quality, but full of weakness. So it's why you need the perfumer, to cut and to wrap it up with synthetic. Is that if you do a parallel with the fashion industry, if you have a beautiful piece of silk, of cotton, you need someone to cut it. You can add accessories around it. So it's exactly the same for perfumery. So we need both, but in good proportion, I would say.
All right, so one thing that the both of your brands share in common is that you both reuse your packaging, right? So I have like two different questions for the both of you. So for Joe, how do consumers feel about reusing packaging for, skincare or body care products, things that go onto their face and body?
We've actually been pleasantly surprised. I think it's about the openness and transparency about how we actually clean the packaging. So we use laboratory technology bottle washing. So this is machinery that's actually used in hospitals. It's used in scientific laboratories. So in terms of the cleanliness, I would almost say it's more clean than some of the packaging that's maybe been sitting in warehouses, that's being used. So we have set the standard on how clean the packaging would actually be once it is washed. And the great thing about it is that it can actually be washed hundreds of times. Glass bottles and aluminium bottles can be washed hundreds of times. So what happens is that they then become carbon positive rather than actually carbon negative, which is everything that we are looking at in a more sustainable planet. But our customers are actually really loving the return, refill, repeat program. And I think it's giving them a feeling of power that they're doing something good, that they can help in whatever small way. And that's a big thing for me, is to make it accessible so that anyone can feel that they are making a difference.
So Joe, for you, I guess it's different. Your consumers are considered a luxury product. So do you think consumers in any way feel that it's less of a luxury to have to come in and refill the product? Because luxury like traditionally means access. Does it still mean that?
I don't think so. That's my personal opinion, and I think it's the right of the new brand to educate the consumer to change. And I think the Gen Z and the millennial are really expecting this change. But women of my generation have been used to this big Chanel, Christian Dior product with a big packaging. I think the millennials and Gen Z are less attractive to that. And when they can reuse things, actually, they're super happy. So just to give you an example, we have this little leatherette. I developed also with a designer, a young designer, and you put your bottle inside, and after you can reuse it. And I work a lot with cotton, so it's a very thick cotton, it's recyclable, and you can put other stuff into it. So it works perfectly. My consumers are happy, and I am considered as a luxury brand because of the time I give to people, the advice I give to people, the beautiful environment where I have my boutique. I think the luxury is more in the relationship and the level of information and education. Because when I do a workshop where I give 1.5 hours to a person, and she comes out, full of knowledge, and she has learned so many things, I think this is the luxury of tomorrow and not the big fake packaging. That's my point of view. Again, it's very personal, but I think there is hope with the new generation.
Well, I think I agree with you, actually. Okay, so I think we only have time for one last question. I just want to ask, how do you think that the coronavirus will have a lasting impact on clean and ethical beauty brands moving forward? Joe, you want to start?
Yeah, I mean, that was obviously something that I added into the presentation and the slides. And I do believe that what it has done is, although there is a negative impact on single-use plastic at the moment with things like gloves and masks and hand sanitizers, what I think that has done is it has really pushed the message to consumers about how single use happens so easily, and it can build up into billions very quickly. And I think we've already seen that there is reusable masks, there's innovation happening with reusable gloves. We have obviously produced hand sanitizer in reusable bottles, you know, and we were asked by the Scottish Government to produce 50,000 hand sanitizers in reusable bottles for the NHS. And that's the first time the NHS has actually used a reusable bottle. So I do think, although there might be a negative impact initially, what's happened is it's driving innovation to produce more reusable packaging, which is great for us.
Fantastic. What about you, Joanna?
For me, I see more COVID as an opportunity for the perfumery to rethink a bit the model, and I think people will put more and more attention about the product they use. The good thing about perfume that nobody knows, it's 80% of alcohol, so it's a perfect sanitizer whenever you put perfume on bacteria. So more perfume on you when you go outside. I like you with the hand sanitizer in a glass recyclable bottle that people can come and refill. And I think it's our responsibility again, because it's tons of plastic, spread over the planet with all this new protection we need. So I totally agree with you, Joe. The next good things for Maison 21G is, I think people will be afraid to go to this crowded place for a while, this big department store where you queue, where you are surrounded by people, and having the opportunity to come at a little shop like Maison 21G, when you can have your private meetings where we take care of you, will be a huge hit. We are reopening Friday, and I have already booking every hour of people who wants to come and make their perfume in a safe environment. So I think the brand that we spend a bit more time with consumer, more qualitative time, we go a bit away from this mass consumption. And of course, the online, we grow a lot. I had this challenge discussing with people, you're crazy, Joanna, you want to sell perfume online, personalized perfume, how people is going to smell. I made it. I mean, I was the way, you communicate your information, you give trial to people, it works. I sold hundreds of bespoke perfume online these last 2 months. So I think you're at home, you go less out, and people will shop more online. So I see it as an opportunity, but I know it has huge impact on the duty-free, for instance. We know that the whole duty-free industry is on the ground, and it's sad because it's a lot of people who are doing a great job there. So it's not all pink, and we need to reinvent yourself. And we need to communicate more about what is inside the product. I think people want to feel safe, and that would be, for me, the consequence of the COVID.
All right. Thank you so much for all your insights, and talk about how you run your beauty businesses cleanly and ethically. And it's really fascinating to hear from your perspectives. Thank you so much, Joe and Joanna.
No, thank you for having us, Amanda. And as you know, we love this topic. So please, any questions?
I'll call you again.
Yeah.
Yes, so right. So for next week, we'll be going into the lab to take a closer look into the formulation work that goes into developing clean and ethical beauty products, and spotlighting different ways of working and how to overcome hurdles. So tune in for that next week. Thank you very much for watching.